Alright, hello and welcome to the second ever YouTube broadcast episode of All Games Considered. I'm your host, James Lionberger. This is actually pretty much just a companion piece to my video I put up yesterday, which was really quickly filmed using my phone, and it was just after I'd heard about Monty Oum, and I just needed to put something out really quick, that way I could get on with my day. And it was asked, as I mentioned in the last video, by Bernie Burns, that instead of sitting around mourning and sending, well wishes and all that sort of thing to Rooster Teeth, that instead people go out and do something creative. And as such, I have been going through my life and looking at all my abandoned projects, orphan projects, and restarting them. I have been working on my writing. I've been working on this, that, the other. Eventually, I might pick up art again, but I really suck at it, so it'll probably take even longer. But the first things first, and the easiest to do, was All Games Considered, which, as I mentioned, is a radio show that me and a couple friends started back at Nebraska Wesleyan University in 2000. I guess it would have been 2013. And so I am officially making the second ever YouTube broadcast, which is, big step up for us because we frankly have only ever done web radio for our university. So this is, like I said, my big restart, my big revival. I will likely have friends on. I will try, if I can, to get hold of my old co-hosts and try to get them to put in little videos, things like that. We are spread all over the place, though. So, I'm in Nebraska. My friend's in Dane Bamrick, the second co-host. He is in Iowa, and Andrew Sachs, the progenitor, honestly, of All Games Considered, the guy who got me to start doing it, he is all the way in Colorado, which I guess I should mention is the opposite end of the state from where I am. I am in southeastern Nebraska, and for privacy reasons, I ain't going any farther than that. Anyway, getting back to the main point, this video is essentially going to be my real sort of tribute to Monty Oum, who is my hero. The stuff he makes, I watch, and it just makes me absolutely amazed. It is just wow. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to lie, I don't know how you're coming to watch this video then, because if you are watching this video, it's probably because you've seen links I've posted around, and you've probably watched the show or listened to the show in the past, in which case you already know that I geek out about Monty Oum, particularly his hit web show, web anime, really, Ruby, which is just, that comes later. But I'm going to do a really quick little bit about Monty Oum. Monty didn't start animating as a job. He was doing other things when he first made his debut as an animator. If I remember right from the various interviews and podcasts I've seen, he was working at a Kinko's and another job that I can't remember at the moment, and I don't think he ever mentioned it anyway. But it was literally just he knew what he was doing. Like he learned what he was doing, and he went out and he did it. He always talks about how he would. He always talked about how he would have his laptop running at work and have it rendering these awesome things he did. And his first ever thing he ever did that I know of, I guess it wouldn't be the first thing, but his first big thing was Haloid, which I recommend you look up, Haloid. It's essentially he loved Halo, he loved Metroid, and he suddenly had the idea of what if Master Chief and Samus met? What happens if those two come together? And it is this fantastic video made using Halo 2's engine, well, sort of Halo 2's engines, of him just coming up with this scenario that he thought up and decided to just take to the next level. It's essentially that, that one spark you had as a little kid that you thought of, it's like, oh man, it'd be so cool if this character and this character had a fight. Well, he thought of that and then promptly proceeded to make it. He learned how to rip the tags, the 3D tags for the characters from Halo 2 and used some tags from Smash Brothers Melee and put together this incredible video called Haloid. I suggest you go watch it right now, and if I remember to, I will put a link in the description. Next up, he made a series called Dead Fantasy, which is he really liked Final Fantasy. He really liked the Dead or Alive fighting game, and so he suddenly thought, what happens if the two meet? And it's Final Fantasy chicks fighting each other, and it's amazing. And he also had a love of dance, and I mean full-on anime, K-pop, J-pop dance. And it shows as well in his works. If you're really lucky, you'll catch a version of Haloid that already has the Master Chick Samus dance-off at the end. If not, look it up right after you watch it, because it is just... Essentially, it's, once again, what happens if these two characters get together and have a dance-off? Everyone loves that. Who doesn't love that? If you don't love that, then I'm sorry, you're watching the wrong show. So anyway, he made this video, Haloid, and that got the attention of a, at the time, small company that I'm sure one or two of you out there have probably heard of, called Rooster Teeth. And they contacted him, and they were all, hey, man, guys, we have got to get this guy Monty to work for us. I mean, think of what he could do with Red vs. Blue, their flagship show at the time. Think of what he could do with it. I mean, it'd just be so awesome. And so they contacted him, and initially he did not realize they were offering him a job. And he was excited about it. He loved Red vs. Blue at the time. Well, I'm assuming they continued to love it. But he didn't realize they were offering him a job. And later he got a job with Midway Games, and even past that, Bandai Namco. Someone look up the pronunciation of that and tell me in the comments or something. Or if no one actually watches this video, just, tell me how Namco is supposed to be pronounced if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But he continued to work in the gaming industry now, making games, and he made some really awesome ones that because I really should have put more than 5 minutes prep into this, he really didn't. I mean, I really don't remember the names of them, but he spent a while making games, and then one day got an invitation to go to Comic-Con. I believe it was San Diego Comic-Con. And he had just gotten done doing a con, and he really didn't want to go until he looked at the sheet and saw Bernie Burns on the list of attendees of guests for this panel that he was asked to do, and that was kind of the big start off of him getting into Rooster Teeth. He went to the panel because he wanted to talk to Bernie. Bernie only went to the panel because he wanted to talk to Monty. And he realized that 3 years earlier, when they had contacted him right after Haloid, they were trying to give him a job. And he worked in secret on Red vs. Blue Season 8 to add in, towards the end, the 3D animation that they put in the video, that they put in the show. And it was just, oh my god. If none of you have ever seen it, go watch Red vs. Season 8. The iconic scene of Sarge being attacked by the meta and Griffin Simmons charging through a wall on a warthog. Or no, it wasn't the meta, it was Washington. And charging through a wall on a warthog, and just all of a sudden the show took on this new quality of, wait a minute, you can't do that in Halo. How do you can't do that in Halo. And as they moved on, eventually the show got a lot more notoriety. They got noticed by Bungie, who gave them the materials to continue 3D animating. And when the game went over to 343, they continued with it, and they continued animating. And Red vs. Blue just became so awesome because all of a sudden, rather than just having this show that it was amazing and the writing was fantastic, but could have been filmed by anyone with an Xbox and a motion cap and a game cap module, now all of a sudden it took on this new quality of that much more depth they put into it. All of a sudden the characters walk could walk with a swagger, and they could interact with each other, and they can just be real for a few minutes every week. And all of a sudden, around season 10, there wasn't any animation. And that is because Monty took on a project of his own. He had been working on Red vs. Blue for such a long time, and he got finally asked if he wanted to do anything of his own, and he said, hey, let me show you this. And he unveiled this thing called the Red trailer. And it was the story of a small girl wandering through the woods, attacked by these wolf creatures, and just all of a sudden, sniper rifle, scythe, thing, killing wolves by the dozen, wolf monsters, things. We later learned they were called Beowulfs, but at the time we didn't know that. And that was just, whoa. And I first watched this pretty much as it came out. I had heard rumors of it, and I saw it on the Rooster Teeth page, and I fell in love immediately. I, at the time, was just getting into anime for the, I guess, second time in my life after my initial kid phase of, watch Naruto in the evening when it comes on and try to, record it if I couldn't get to it. And all of a sudden now there was this fantastic thing of this, this innocent little girl in a red hood that comes in handy later when you realize that all those characters are based on fairy tales. And it blew my mind. And then the white trailer came out, and it blew my mind. And the black trailer came out, and it blew my mind. And what little tatters of my mind were left were waiting for the yellow trailer, which took, in my mind, considerably longer to come out because I had to wait. And once again, what remained of my mind was splattered all over the wall because it was fantastic. And it introduced so much of what would become RWBY, which, my God, if you ever listened to our radio show, I got a little obnoxiously into it. I would play RWBY music every single episode. And honestly, I got told by my co-host, you got to come up with different music. You got to come up with other things. And so, RWBY happened. Volume 1. Wildly popular. I've yet to find someone who had any real argument about it being bad. The biggest thing was one of my friends who is a bit of an art. He watches anime part for the story and part for the beauty. And his only problem was that the 3D animation wasn't perfect. And I promptly told him to shove off because, this guy was used to, additives to a show, and all of a sudden he decides he's going to make this new thing. And that thing was RWBY. And I actually got him to watch more of it when I told him that season 2, Monty got, it's a generational gap. The 3D animation between seasons 1 and 2. And halfway through the hiatus between seasons 2 and 3, as any of you, or volumes 2 and 3, as any of you who know anything about Rooster Teeth know, Monty passed away. And the last few days, 2 days, has been really hard on me and lots of my friends. We loved RWBY. We love RWBY. We love Red vs. Blue. And deep down, I honestly think, and I'm hoping against, a lot of people out there who are saying that RWBY is done, that Red vs. Blue is going to go back to machinima, characters going through the motions. And each and every one of them I've told that from what little I know of this miracle that is Monty Oum, that's not where it's going to end. That's not how it's going to end. Because I get the feeling that if they ended it there, Monty would dig himself out of the ground and finish it himself. This man had no sense of maybe I should take a break. He had to force himself to stop from time to time. But most of that, I can't do it justice. Go over to the Rooster Teeth site and read some of their stories about Monty. And it's there are no words. So yesterday's little 3-minute little video being sort of a jumpstart in honor of Monty Oum, All Games Considered will continue to broadcast. I'm going to try to set up a Tuesday-Thursday schedule, which is the last schedule that we had while we were still broadcasting regularly. And we're going to try to make a show again. And it's going to be everything you hated from the first run. It's going to be video games, anime, sci-fi, technology. It's going to be just everything I can throw at a wall. And if it doesn't stick, I will get some super glue and I will put it back. And so, to cap off the inaugural YouTube broadcast of All Games Considered, I am James Leinberger, signing off.